Okay, great. So thanks for joining today. We want to run through the Red Hat demo platform workshop that we're doing for the Red Hat Summit in May this year for Smart Aquaculture, and Denis is going to walk through this. So he is user 16, I believe. Okay, so can you click skip tour and then switch from the developer to the administrator perspective on the left? Yeah. Now go to networking. Routes. Okay, now go to all projects on the top. And, oh, let's see. Oh, that's right. Okay, so at the top right, can you go to it's the nine dots. I think they call it the waffle. Yeah, click on the waffle and then click Red Hat OpenShift AI and log in with OpenShift AI. Yes. Okay, go to data science projects. Yeah, click on workbench user 16 and click on the workbenches tab. Or just click on the VSCode link in the middle. Yeah, right there. Log in. Allow selected permissions. Click yes, I trust the authors. Okay, now on the bottom right, it says, do you want to install the recommended extensions? VS Code Java, yes, install. Okay, so those are installing. Now you can go to the left and get started. Click on the files on the left. Yes, and start with 00 create scaffolding code.ipynb. Okay, so this opens up a Jupyter notebook, and the first step is to switch to the Jupyter kernel bash. So it says in the top right corner of your VS Code workbench, click select kernel. So it's down a little bit. There it is. Select Jupyter kernel and then bash. Bash is the terminal commands. So it lets us run terminal commands in our VS Code workbench. So you can start by running the first command to take a look at your variables for Smart Aquaculture. So this prints out all of the secrets and ports and host names and everything required to do Smart Aquaculture in this workbench. And then you can keep going to the next step. This is going to create, let's see, this is going to start creating the whole Smart Aquaculture project from scratch, starting with the VS Code launch configuration. So this part, you can actually run really fast if you just click Run All at the top. So there's a run all button. Go ahead to the top of the Jupyter notebook.
Oh, yeah. Excuse me.
Yeah, run all. So this will go and create each file one by one. And this is doing it smartly because it evaluates your variables before running this command. And it's able to dynamically add variables as it needs, or do if statements or for loops based on your code. But most of these are just static files that we just need to copy. And if on the left, if you go to the Smart Aquaculture folder and open it up, there's a Smart Aquaculture folder on the left. You'll see it's starting to fill up with files. So it has a gitignore, a pom.xml, a vars.yaml, and a bashrc. Oh, let's see, that's outside. Open up the src folder inside of Smart Aquaculture. You'll see it just created a new repo called Smart Aquaculture Static. So it's just creating a whole bunch of files that need to be there to get started. So we don't have to create all of these by hand. It's just going to go and create them all for us. And if you scroll down on the right side with these Jupyter notebooks, you'll see it running one after another. It's writing some Java files to handle search results from the Apache Solr search engine. It's creating a base model Java file to handle data from the database. It's creating a package info.java that's related to Vertex code API code generation with the Vertex service proxy. It's creating some default cascading style C website style for the site. And some default JavaScript for the site to handle a bunch of JavaScript functions that we need. Site module.js is for after the page is loaded, it can do additional module type JavaScript. Leaflet is for maps. So we have some map style sheets and JavaScript that's getting created. Yeah, lots of leaflet related static files. Now this is for WebSockets. WebSockets are requests that come from the backend to the front end. Everybody's browser who's connected to a certain page can get a WebSocket update. That's the sock stuff. Plotly is for graphing and also for maps. So it's putting a bunch of Plotly JavaScript and style. And then event bus is related to WebSockets, and it's connecting to Vertex event bus messaging, which is how we send WebSocket messages to the browsers. And a default logo for Computate. And some other default logos. A dark logo for Smart Aquaculture and a light theme logo. And then these are related to Computate code generation. We're going to do lots of code generation, and these are shell scripts that regenerate the code. And the next ones are for watching your code for changes and then automatically generating code as you create new files or modify existing files that'll watch and recognize that something's changed and regenerate code for you. Then we can do some fun vibe coding. Index.sh is indexing your source code into a search engine called Apache Solr and creating a model, like an AI model for your code that can accurately generate more code for you so that you don't have to write it. It'll just generate it for you. That's what those index.sh files are for. Then we can generate a container file that will build your application into a container so you could run it in the cloud. And some page layout, a page layout Java class to handle almost all of the page requests in the site. A homepage HTML Jinja template. We use Jinja as our template syntax language. And I think we made it to the bottom. So next, you can go to the next Jupyter Notebook. Yeah. So we're going to boot up the Computate code generation watcher code within your project. Once again, you got to switch to the bash kernel. And go ahead and run that first command, generate.sh. Excellent. This is indexing your source code into the search engine. Let's see. I think I'm going to make a note that on this one, we want to provide a query to code indexed in the search engine. I'll just make a note of that later. Okay, so then the next command you can't run in Jupyter. You have to copy it to the clipboard and put it in a terminal in VSCode. So copy that command and then access the terminals. I think it's control backtick, or you can go to the top go to the top left of VSCode, and there's a hamburger button. There's 3 lines on the left above the files, and go to terminal, new terminal. Oh yeah, control shift backtick. Yep. So go ahead and paste that command in there. Yeah, click the paste button. It's a little bit goofy. There's a paste button that appeared. Oh, click retry in the bottom right. And then click paste right below it. There's a paste button that appeared. Retry and then paste. Yeah, there it is. Oh, it copied a little too much. There should be a dollar site SRC in the beginning. Leave the dollar. Yeah, run that command. In a couple seconds, it'll say that it's watching the code. Yep. So now it's watching your code for changes. Now you can go on to Jupyter Notebook 02. And switch to the bash kernel. Now you're going to create a class called siteuser.java. And you're going to see some errors in the watcher code. Go ahead to scroll down a little bit more and run that first box, which will use Ansible to create the siteuser.java file. And on the left, I want you to open up Smart Aquaculture folder /src / model. No. Yeah, open up model. Excuse me. Okay, so it's got the base model. Actually, click refresh at the top of the file box. There's a little refresh explorer. Yeah. Okay, see how it created a user folder in the Smart Aquaculture project? Go down to that user and click in the siteuser.java class. So this is what it created. And it's got a bunch of descriptions of how the site user class is defined. Go ahead and scroll through that and take a look. I'll be right back. So it's basically defining a bunch of initialization methods for different fields, like user first name, user last name, user full name, whether they will want to see archived records, a display name for the site user, and some override methods to integrate site requests and API requests into the site user model. Okay, you can switch back to the 0 to Jupyter Notebook. And for some reason, this first time it creates the site user.java, it doesn't recognize that it was added. So scroll down a little bit and click and run that touch command. So it's going to touch that file, and then it says, and then it's showing some errors in the console. It's trying to generate the site user, but it's missing a different class that it depends on called sitepage.java. So it's having some issues. Let's just wait a sec, and then we'll create the sitepage.java. Um, Okay, go ahead and create your sitepage.java class. Let's see what it does here. Okay, it says site page touched. That's good. On the left, if you go to the page directory inside Smart Aquaculture, up right there. Yeah, that's where it created site page. Okay, and page layout. So it was able to generate a whole bunch of API code for site pages. So that's good. Go ahead and create siteroutes.java next. This siteroutes.java is to add additional routes, custom routes to your API if you want, but it's really just going to create a blank class for the most part. Move on to the worker vertical.java. This is for background worker processes for your site. And then notice that it says worker vertical touched. Now run the main vertical.java. Yeah. Okay. Notice at the bottom it says main vertical touched. Now run that last command, generate.sh, which will regenerate all the code and should get the main vertical ready to run. Okay, on the left side, can you do a refresh on the files again? Okay, and then there's a directory called vertical. Go into vertical and then click main vertical.java. So this is the Java main class. It has a Java main method and it initializes the whole site asynchronously in a scalable way that allows for clustering requests and event bus driven messaging and sharing workers and threads between pods. So there's a whole bunch to this code. You can scroll down through a lot of imports, but we integrate a lot of things. It also created a class underneath called main vertical gen that was generated to help with initialization of this whole class. There's the Java main method there. So this is where the whole site begins. And it starts by checking if there's things that need to be generated. The OpenAPI spec, the SQL create scripts or the authorizations, the FIWARE context generator, and other project-related generator stuff. So we check if any of that needs to be run. And otherwise, we start the main vertical. this is a section where we authorize data. We create Keycloak authorizations, which include policies, resources, scopes, and permissions and groups as well, so that we can organize who has access to do what within the site. And at this point, we're just managing site users and site pages, but later on, we'll actually add fish populations and fisheries and things like that to the authorization list. And then we configure the database schema. So this is some code that can initialize the database schema for you, connect to Postgres and initialize that database schema with the db-create.sql, which we haven't actually created yet. So we're not able to run this yet, but we will. An OpenAPI 3 spec generator. We also need to create the OpenAPI spec. That hasn't been created yet. There's a method to run the verticals, both the main vertical and the worker vertical at the same time, as well as an email vertical. So we can send emails if we want. The run command actually runs the site. So it grabs a bunch of configuration from either environment variables that we pass in or YAML file with all the config. And connects to Zookeeper to make it clustered and scalable. We can also initialize OpenTelemetry. And here's the part where it starts. So maybe we'll go this far into this because there's still a lot of code to review. But it starts by doing a bunch of things asynchronously. First, we configure internationalization. So if we want to have English definitions of words, we can do that, or French or any other language. We could integrate internationalization. And then we configure the web client, which makes requests to other APIs if we need to grab data from other APIs. We configure the data loop, which is configuring the database, connection to the database. And then we configure OpenAPI, which is which APIs we've defined a shared worker vertical executor for running shared background tasks and WebSockets. We configure those. We can configure it to connect to Kafka. We can configure it to connect to MQTT messaging or AMQP messaging or RabbitMQ messaging. We have all these options. And depending on your smart devices that you're trying to connect to, you may use any of these. And then we configure Java, which is our template syntax for our website. And we configure the whole API. We configure the user interface. And then we finally start the server. So that's a whole bunch of configuration that needs to happen before we can start the server asynchronously. But that's how it works. Okay. Can you go back to the 02 Jupyter Notebook? 02. Let's see if we finish this one. Can you click scrollable element? Let's just see. Okay, it's looking pretty clean. That's good. It had a few errors at the beginning, but then it worked out its problems. So now you can scroll down, and now that it knows about the site user model, it's able to accurately generate the page layout. So go ahead and create your page layout.html. Okay, that looks good. Is there anything else in there? That's all.
That's all.
Okay, now we can go to 03, notebook. We're going to regenerate the database and the Open API spec and anything else we need. So go ahead and do a Maven clean install. Let's see if this is successful. Yeah, click the run on that. Oh, let's see. Did that get... Maybe that line got deleted. Can you close it and open it again without saving?
Mhm.
03. Okay, scroll up. Can you scroll up to the top? Okay, let's see. And clean install.
Code.
For some reason, that code disappeared. So go to the bottom and open a new terminal. There's a plus sign on the right of the terminal. Click the plus. Yeah. And then cd space smart aquaculture. Enter. And then type mvn space clean space install, like it shows up above. mvn space clean space install. This will download a bunch of dependencies and then compile the site. This takes a few minutes. Okay, it finished downloading the dependencies. Now it's compiling the source code. Let's see if it's successful. It's building the jar, so I think it compiled all the code successfully. So we didn't miss any steps. And it's done. Success. Nice. Okay. The next step is to refresh the Maven projects in VS Code and regenerate the API. So on the left side, there's a run section for VS Code. Oh, actually, it says start by clicking the refresh button on your. Actually, let's just try this. So click on the run, and yeah, run and debug. And then there's a drop down. Don't run that one, but click the drop down and change to rebuild Smart Aquaculture API. Yeah, and try running that one. Okay. Go ahead and click. Actually, let's do what it says. So refresh the workbench. Click the refresh in your browser. The refresh button in your browser. Yeah, right there. Yeah, go ahead and do that. Sometimes after setting all this up, you need to give it a refresh before it knows how to do the Java stuff correctly. Now switch to the run and debug menu and switch the drop down to rebuild Smart Aquaculture API, and then click start debugging. Okay, so it just regenerated the OpenAPI spec. It regenerated the database. Go on the left, the files menu, open up the resources directory a little ways down. Resources. Yeah. Open up resources, open up SQL, and click on db-create.sql. So it generated these create table and alter table statements to create a table in the database for a site user with all the fields that we need. And then on the left, go down to webroot directory, open that up. It's right below db-drop.sql. Yeah, webroot, OpenAPI 3, ENUS, click on that. And then go click in the middle and press Control A to select all. Control A, and then Control C to copy. And then open a new tab in your browser and type in editor, editor dot swagger dot instead of dash, editor dot swagger.io. Yeah, enter. and allow all cookies. And then on the left, click in the left side, press Control A, and then backspace, or paste. You can paste what you have there. And it should change from the Swagger Pet Store to Smart Aquaculture. Yeah. So this is the open API spec, and it's the APIs that are available to Smart Aquaculture. And if you go to the right side and scroll down, you'll see it handles site users and some default logout and callback APIs, as well as articles. And then if you go back to the VSCode workbench in the previous tab, then go to this, find the 03 Jupyter Notebook and scroll down. So we did that step. We did that step. You can scroll down some more. We don't need to do those. We regenerated the API and scroll down some more. Okay, get the route. And then on the left side, go to the Run and Debug menu and start, and then switch the drop down to be Smart Aquaculture. Yeah, and that. Okay, scroll up a little bit in the logs down below. There should be there's some logs in the terminal down below. Scroll up, up a little higher. Above the database, create scripts. Yeah, right there, stop. Actually, scroll down. Yeah, there's a link that says the HTTP server is running, and it has a URL.
Fine.
Go,
Oh.
yeah, control click on that URL. Control click. Configure trusted domains or open. Yeah, you can click open. And there's your site running in the cloud. Pretty cool.
Mm.
It, it doesn't have any articles yet, but you should be able to log in with your user. It should use the OpenShift authentication. So log in and then allow selected permissions. Now for email, just type user16@example.com.
Mm.
Example.com. And first name, user, last name 16, and submit. And so this is authenticated with Keycloak. So now you have your site running. Okay, we'll do one more step. If you go back to your notebook on the previous tab. Yeah, here's where we'll use AI to generate a smart data model. So go to the files on the left and click on 04, create fish population. And run that first command there.
Do you select correct kernel before?
Yeah, select the bash kernel. I guess I left that out of that, but yes.
Oh, yeah, I think. Oh. And I run that.
Yes.
And this one.
Yeah. And the next one. And this one is going to create a fish population.java. So go to your file explorer and on the left, I'll go back to VS Code. Yeah, in your file explorer, go inside and click the refresh. And then scroll up a little bit in the files. And there should be in the models directory, a new one for fish population. Scroll up. Yeah, models, FIWARE, open up FIWARE, fish population.java. So if you click on that, it used what you created to do some code generation to create way more than was there before. So it knows how to create a smart data model API for fish populations by querying the search engine and generating all this code for you. It created fish population.java and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more Java files on the left to build the API and the page and all this stuff. And the last steps will regenerate the main vertical and the page layout and the worker vertical. So if you go back to the 04 Jupyter Notebook, go ahead and rebuild the OpenAPI spec, database scripts, and more.
This one.
Yeah. Okay. Now, go ahead and update the main vertical. Okay, and the worker vertical. Okay, and the page layout. And then recompile your Java project. Yes. Now you can stop and start your site again. So at the top, there's a stop red square. And then go back to the run and debug dialog and run that again. Yeah, just click the green triangle. And click the Fix button at the bottom and click Update Project Configuration. Yeah, now try running it one more time. And now switch tabs to your next tab where it says no site user found in your browser.
Click here.
No, go to your the other tab in your browser, no site user found.
Yeah.
Refresh the page here. Log in. Yeah, and now it has fish populations. Oh, let's see. Okay, so I still need to. There's a part I still need to do, but we're out of time now. So, so this is the workshop that we're doing at the Red Hat Summit in May, and doing this kind of vibe coding, code generation to build a brand new smart aquaculture data-driven website in the cloud. So Denis did this today. We didn't have quite enough time to finish everything, so that took an hour. So that was good to know, to estimate how long this is going to take. But we're also going to be doing this tomorrow with the Smart Aquaculture community, and I'll also be live streaming that. So stay tuned for more, and maybe see you at the Red Hat Summit. So I'm going to stop